Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Does Gemma really know what she's talking about? We don't know. No, in all fairness, today's episode, video, whatever the hell you want to call it, is pretty much about how to become a product designer in the year 2023. This is your guide. So I know a lot of people out there are thinking right now whether it's a good idea to transition into the role of product design. And the truth is, I don't know. In all honesty, yeah. No, seriously, yeah. There's a lot of people right now who want to come over into this field, but is currently really glamorized. I will put that out there right now, that the current product design industry is very glamorized of what you see online to what it actually is when you're doing the role. There's also questions about the UX market at the moment. We have currently seen a massive layoff in all the tech companies has now decided to downsize. So currently right now there are a lot of people in the market looking for roles. There's abundance of questions out there and hopefully this guy will help you answer some of those questions. Oh, and by the way, let's just get this out of the way now. Yes, I've had a new haircut. No, I don't know how to style it. Am I going to keep it? I don't know, but this is what we're dealing with today, so let's just ignore it and get on with it. So let's start off with defining the difference between UX and UI. Now I do have a video dedicated to this over on my channel, so if that's something you're interested in, then go check that out. If not, then cool, good for you, do whatever you want with your life. But yeah, if you want a more in-depth instructions of what UX and UI is, go check that video out. Right now, right here, we're just going to say that UX is the process of designing products or services which focus on creating a positive user experience. Ding ding. This involves understanding needs, goals, and expectations of users and designing the product or service in a way that meets those and provided a satisfying experience. Cool, you got that? Nice. UI, on the other hand, is a process of designing visual and interactive elements of a product or service, such as layout, typography, color schemes, icons, buttons, or other graphical elements. And the goal of UI design is to create a visual, appealing, and easy-to-use interface that enables users' performances, tasks effectively. Do we have that? Cool, let's move on. What I've seen in the market is that you see UX designers, UI designers, product designers, UX, UI designers. What's the difference between all of these? Well, to be honest with you, if you're a solely UX designer, then usually you don't normally touch the UI. Kind of a caveat to that, ironically, my official title in work is Senior UX Designer, and guess what I do in my day-to-day job? I work along the UX and the UI. Depends on the job description, so don't really focus on the title, just focus on the job description. In a census case out there, UX, UI is product design. It's the same thing, basically. If you are planning on coming over to product design, I just want to let you know that it is actually a really nice and rewarding industry to be in if the company does the job right. If there's good processes in place where they take in user needs and business goals, you are always striving for better, then yes, this industry can be a really rewarding industry. So things to keep in mind. The field right now, or always will be, forever evolving. Learn something one way, chances are it'll be changed in a few years. Don't bog down and think about this is how I do a process, this is how I will always do a process. Nah, forget it, it's out there. It doesn't work like that. It is going to be evolving all the time, so keep an eye out for that and keep learning while you're doing it. There are also things that change, such as technology. We are seeing a massive boom right now in AI technology. Learning new skills like that is really going to benefit you moving into this career. Next up is understanding user needs and business goals. Now, this is one of the most misunderstood part of UX. A lot of people will just define UX as users and users only. What they forget to mention is that you work and will always work for a company. Those goals actually matter. The whole role of a UX designer or a UX consultant or product designer is to align user needs with business goals. Now, these two things come hand in hand. You can't have happy users and a bad business model. Those things just don't work. So by doing this, we understand how users think, feel, we empathize with these people, and we really look at the customer journeys to see what we can improve in order to hit the KPIs of the business that year. There's also bonus points added to this if you include inclusive and user-centric metrics and have a mindset of inclusion. This means the more people you include in a product or include within user journeys, then the more users you're going to have to use your product over time. Now, this can come into things like down on accessibility, really drilling down on your inclusiveness within the business itself, making sure you have a very diverse team. This all helps against bias and will then eventually feed into the product itself. Another thing that you will need within this industry is to be proactive. Nobody is going to hand you a job on a plate. Nobody is going to hand you a high paying salary. These are all things that you have to work for. Just by following one format or following one way of doing a case study, that is not going to cut it in this current time frame of this industry. It just isn't going to do it for you, and I'm sorry to be bearer of bad news on this one, but that is the absolute truth, and I'm just expressing pure honesty. So what you have to do is to be proactive. You need to make sure you're forever learning, read the books if you want to read the books, watch the videos if you want to watch the videos, keep up to date with current trends, keep up to date with current development processes, keep up to date with AI, keep up to date with everything and consume everything to do with product design. Sometimes you have to look at hypothesis-driven design. There are all different ways to come up with all different answers to solve all different problems, and using one process is not going to count for everything else. Talking about processes, next step would be checking out your portfolio, making sure that your case studies don't always follow the same format. I offer one-on-one mentoring sessions over on my Super Peer. See a lot of designers' portfolios and a lot of designers who are entering the market. 9 times out of 10, they're all following the same format. A case study, sometimes a really lovely design case study, talking about the problem, how you're going to solve it. It shows personas, a bit of research, and then it shows a bit of user testing. Even though all that is true sometimes in this field, that isn't the be all and end all. Honestly, for somebody who has been within this industry for 10 years, hands up, I've never written a user persona. 9 times out of 10, they're not needed or they're really biased. Don't include a lot of people, targeting down a small demographic of people, which maybe sometimes don't even fit into that demographic, or we would have got that demographic wrong, or we're completely just off the mark. And if we continue following down that persona route, our product is going to be completely off the mark. So I like to broaden my spec and really think about inclusion over personas. But that's just me personally. And these are the type of things we're looking for. So just a little mental note out there is to really scan over your portfolios, see where you're lacking. Working fast. So this is an extremely fast-paced environment. And it is always going to be a fast-paced environment. And I learned this from going to university, where I didn't study product design university. I studied graphic design, but same concept. You get what I mean. It was design. And we would get weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, like up to 6 to 8 weeks to do a project. Sometimes it's not a perfect way of doing things. Sometimes we do actually sit down and work something out from the very beginning, and it can take months and months and months, but the likelihood of that happening is relatively slim because the majority of projects or products out there exist in the world. So they would have done research, they would have done some sort of thing. My point is, you don't get to start things from scratch all times at every time. There is something that's going to be existing, and you walk into an existing product and you just try and make it better. What can you do in the time that you have in order to achieve a goal? Pretty much. Cool. Got that one? Nice. Practice as much as you can. There are loads of different ways that you can practice. Work with family members, you can do something charity. Maybe you just want to design something, but come up with a reason that you wanted to design something. And bonus points if you design something while using an existing style guide. So let's take Spotify for instance, okay? Spotify have a certain way of how it looks, how it feels, so certain elements that they use, and certain ways that they target audiences. Can you use that and not create a new spin and do a new design for this? Do a new feature, solves a problem for people by using the same stuff that Spotify currently use. Because that's exactly what you will be doing in this industry. And the last thing on my list is honestly just to network. The more people you talk to within this industry, the more you're going to learn from them, the more that you're going to be in the forefront of their mind when they're looking to hire someone. But don't just ask for something. Create conversation with them. Don't just send them a link and say, can you review my portfolio? It's more creating conversations, creating connections, making friends, just trying to put yourself within this industry as an expert and not as somebody who's just trying to land a job. And that's it. If you liked this video, then please let me know in the comments below. It really does help me out if you tell me what type of videos you like, what type of videos you don't like. I don't mind any type of thing in the comments. It's all good with me. Tell me if you don't like my haircut. I won't be offended. I'm kind of iffy about it too. So if there's something that you want to tell me, then let me know in the comments below. Like this video, then please give it a like. It really helps with me in this universe of YouTube and algorithm, so anything you can do to help, I would be super, super grateful. Did touch upon this a little bit earlier. I do offer one-on-one mentoring sessions over on my Super Beer. Again, if that's something you're interested in, there's a link in the description below. I also have a newsletter called Handover, where I send out UX related content every single month. Again, if that's something you're interested in, there's a link in the description below. And that's pretty much it. Until next time, bye! Ugh, I can't believe I did this whole video again over a cold.